again, everybody, along with Don Sutton, Skip Carey, welcoming you to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium and the Braves' first home exhibition game of the year against the Baltimore Orioles this afternoon. Well, it's good to be home. I know the ball club is happy to be here for a very short stay. Always fun to play against a team from the other league, and especially this one because they might not be the most improved team in baseball.
Well, I think they're in the toughest division in baseball, Skip. They had to improve, and with you, I'd like to see this become a yearly tradition, having American leaguers come in. Orioles added some very key players over the winter. Rafael Palmeiro, Chris Sabo. You see the names there. Two guys that are not mentioned here that have been a part of the organization for a while. Chris Hoyle's behind the plate is going to do a good job. Jeffrey Hammonds is a youngster. Even we who follow Atlanta are going to hear a lot about in the American League. I was talking to Johnny Oates before the game. He said, we're going to score runs and we can catch the ball. Unfortunately, right now, they've got nobody to throw it for them. Their pitching staff is hurting. They get any pitching at all, they can win that division.
A lot of people picked them to win the American League East, and we'll be back with the starting lineups. Then the play-by-play story right after this.
Beautiful day here in Atlanta. A perfect day for baseball. The Orioles were commenting they were expecting to see a little bit of maybe some cool weather here, but they are so pleased to be here, to be playing. They head up and open in Camden Yard tomorrow. They have an exhibition game against the Phillies. Time for us to take a look at the starting lineup for our Johnny Oates managed Baltimore Orioles. Here's the way they'll line them up. Brady Anderson in left field will lead it off. It's Mike Devereaux, the center fielder, who will bat second. Newcomer Rafael Palmeiro at first base. He'll hit third. Batting cleanup, Cal Ripken. Is his streak still alive? I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Chris Hoyles will catch bat fifth. Newcomer Chris Sabo at third, hitting sixth. Mark McLemore. Jeffrey Hammonds, a youngster in right field who is going, most people believe, to be a superstar. And out of the great state of Georgia and here in Atlanta, Jim Poole, a last-minute replacement. He'll be pitching. That's the Orioles starting lineup. Let's run down the Braves' defensive alignment. Mike Kelly, surprise to a number of people, and I guess even to himself, he's on the roster. He'll start in left field. Deion Sanders, the quarterback of the outfield, will be in center. David Justice in right field. From third to first, it's Pendleton, Blauser, Lemke, and McGriff. Charlie O'Brien gets the start behind the plate, and coming off of a fantastic spring, maybe the best that he has ever had, John Smoltz. Your umpires have gathered at home plate. It's Mark Barron in the short sleeves who will be calling the balls and strikes. The veteran from the American League, that's Dale Ford there on your right. He'll be at the first base side, and Rich Riker will be over at third. Braves haven't yet come out onto the field. Charlie O'Brien at the top of the steps waiting to lead the charge out, and even as we speak, here they come. Great idea, I think, to have the American League come in here. It gives you folks who follow us a chance to take a look at guys like Cal Ripken, one of the true stars in the other league. You don't get to see that much. But hopefully this will become something that, with the approval of you fans and maybe with some encouragement, we'll see American League team schedule here in Atlanta for an exhibition closeout, for the closeout of the exhibition season for years to come. Well, we're about ready to get underway. The grass is bright green. It's a beautiful, you're not ready yet, Skip? It's a beautiful day here. Not a cloud in the sky. We're set to go. And so Skip Carey.
Okay, Don, thank you very much. You're right. A crowd of 25 to 30,000 is gathering here. Terrible accident on the major highway leading toward the stadium about 2 hours ago had traffic really snarled up on this Good Friday. So it will be a late arriving crowd, but a very good one. I can remember opening days, regular season in Atlanta, not that long ago, where they would have been thrilled to have a crowd this size for that. And a bigger crowd is expected to see the White Sox tomorrow. The White Sox, a very fine team without Michael Jordan, who will open with Birmingham, by the way, in Double-A baseball when the minor league season gets underway.
It was kind of fun going down to visit with the Baltimore Orioles. Johnny Oates, a former teammate of mine, and coaching for the Orioles at third base is Jerry Narron, who was a catcher with the California Angels for a while. Over at first is Davey Lopes, a guy mentioned by many people as one of the top non-managing manager candidates. He interviewed over at Houston. Disappointed that he didn't get it. There's Johnny Oates, one of the really good guys who spent some time here briefly, didn't he, with the Atlanta Braves?
He caught for the Braves and also from the Alumni Club. Right-handed reliever Mark Eichhorn used to pitch for the Braves, and Lonnie Smith has made this team, and he made it as a non-roster player this spring and will do a lot of designated hitting for the Baltimore teams. Funny about baseball, if you're around at any time at all, no matter who you play, you find people that you cross paths with somewhere along the line, and you With all the teams, all the uniforms you model, you know everybody.
Hey, about a half of those guys on the Oriole clubs I either played with or was in spring training with for some time.
As I'm sure you know by now, we'll televise again tomorrow against the White Sox, and then it's off to San Diego, where we open up on Monday afternoon. The ball club is going to leave rather early Sunday and work out once they get to San Diego to get ready for Monday's game. We play 4 there and 3 in L.A. and then come home and open against the San Francisco Giants a week from Tuesday. And here we're about ready to go, and Brady Anderson will lead it off. He had a good spring. He hit .302 last year with the Orioles, a .263 batter with 13 homers. He drove in 66 runs, and he stole 24 bases. He had a good, solid year. So Anderson leads it off against John Smoltz, who was so far this spring 2-0 with a 1.06 earned run average.
Brady Anderson was part of a very pleasant dilemma for Johnny Oates this spring. They have they have more than that, but they have 3 very talented outfielders. And so trying to find the best fit as to who's going to be in center field was his problem this spring.
Smoltz ready to go to work. Mark Barron, as Don told you, calls the balls and strikes, and we're underway in Atlanta. Strike called, 0-1. A fastball at the knees. Pete Van Weeren and Joe Simpson will join you halfway through the game today. And they will open television tomorrow. The 0-1. Downstairs, evens it up at a ball and a strike. First couple of games, we mentioned this in Toronto. First couple of games you do in a major league park are really difficult because you're so used to being so close to the field in the minor league ballparks down in Florida. That should be easy. Lemke to his left, gloves it, 1 down. So Anderson is retired. Mike Devereaux will be the batter. He has some National League in his background. Came up in the Dodger organization. He hit .250 last year, but drove in 75 runs and hit 14 homers for the Baltimore team. You're right. They got good hitting up and down the lineup.
And this young man can play some center field, too.
Smoltz to Devereaux. Low and away. 1 ball, no strikes. The outfield plays him to hit to the outfield. He doesn't get the breaking ball. And the count evens at a ball and a strike. Ballpark looks in great shape. Hit hard, short hop, and a good play by Blauser. 2 down. Devereaux hit it on the nose, but Blauser stayed with it, threw him up. And Rafael Palmeiro will be the batter. He hit .230 this spring with 3 homers. He's a better hitter than that. Last year with Texas, .295, 37 homers, 105 RBIs, and 22 stolen bases.
It only strikes out about 1 out of every 8 or 9 times, which according to Joe Simpson is a very good ratio for a power hitter.
He's another guy that the Cubs unaccountably gave up on very early in his career. At the knees, good live fastball, 0-1. Rafael's place in Texas taken by Will Clark, the former Giant. Looked like it might have been a split finger the way it acted.
In a good spot. One thing John is doing today is getting ahead with the fastball, Skip. He's not throwing it down the middle of the plate, but he's throwing it either on the outer half or the inner half and in some good spots.
Yeah, it bounces up there. It's 1-2. Mark Barron inspects the baseball and puts a new one into play. Crowd still filing in here. O'Brien taking a beating in the early going. 2-2 the count.
It's like John's thrown 3 straight split finger fastballs, trying to get it in a good spot ahead in the count. That's a pitch you really don't want to leave up in the strike zone. So if you're going to be wild or bad with it, be wild or bad in the dirt, not up.
The 2-2 pitch about to be made, and here it is. High and away, and he's from 0-2, run it to 3-2. Cal Ripken waits to hit next. Ripken about 260 games away, thereabouts, from Lou Gehrig's record. Started to go, tried to stop, and he did. Ball 4. Puts Palmeiro at first with 2 down for Ripken, who had a great spring. He hit .344 with 2 homers and 16 RBIs. A .257 hitter last year, but with 24 homers, 90 runs driven home.
Rafael Palmeiro's got to be thinking, well, gee, that's like facing American League pitching. Get ahead with the fastball, then I see split fingers, 3-2, and I see a slider.
Ripken stands in there. Upstairs, 1 ball, no strikes, and all of a sudden the plate is jumping around on it.
If you watch Cal Ripken hit, Skip, it's not a hitting style I think you would automatically teach to little leaguers, but it's one he learned early on, and he hasn't varied very much from this approach to hitting and this stance for as long as I've known him, which goes all the way back to the early 80s. Lays the bat on his shoulder.
How do you pitch him, Don?
Try to pitch him away. You can keep the ball out away from him, but if you get it over the plate out there or get too much of it, he can hit it out right center.
A check swing dribbler that should end the inning. Lemke up and throwing. Inning over. He tried to stop his swing, could not. Nothing doing in the first for the Orioles. No hits, no runs, no errors. They leave a batter. We go to the bottom of the first. No score in the ball game.
John Smoltz. The Orioles are gone. Here's the batting order for the Braves. Leading it off, it'll be Deion Sanders, the center fielder. He'll be followed by Jeff Blauser, I promise you. Pendleton, McGriff, and Justice to follow. Mike Kelly gets a start in left field. Charlie O'Brien, Mark Lemke, and John Smoltz complete the batting order. Defensively, the Orioles will align with Anderson in left, Devereaux in center, Hammonds in right. Chris Sabo's at third base. Cal Ripken, Mark McLemore, and Rafael Palmeiro complete the infield. Chris Hoyle's behind the plate, and left-hander Jim Poole on the mound. He is out of Georgia Tech, got a degree in electrical engineering back in 1990. He now makes his home in Maryland. Mostly a reliever his whole career, only 3 career starts, major and minor league.
He too started in the Dodger chain, and his wife also got a degree in electrical engineering from Georgia Tech. I guess when they met, the sparks really flew, huh? Deion leads it off. He had a fine spring training, hit .339. He shortens the bunt, takes a strike. Chris Sabo charging hard from third base. This will be, to my way of thinking, what decides how good a player Deion Sanders is going to be, how he hits left-handers, because he's going to see a lot of them this year. 0-2.
And he's going to see a lot of those left-handed curveballs.
Now Sabo can drop back.
I'd like to see Deion Sanders attempt 1 bunt a game, even if he doesn't get it down. Sacrifice a strike if you have to, but put it in their mind permanently.
The 0-2 pitch. Right under his chinny chin chin. It's 1-2.
Jim Poole's not assuming the worst. He's just one of those relievers. That's that reliever mentality. Let's always pitch from the stretch.
Got him with a breaking ball. Sanders recorded as a strikeout, 1 away, and Jeff Blauser the batter.
Good curveball. Poole is showing a good one. He showcased the fastball up and in. Look where he starts that breaking ball. Perfect 2-strike pitch. Started over a little bit of the plate, then broke it down and out of the strike zone.
Blauser, a .286 hitter on the spring, had a big year last year for Atlanta. And he's still a young man. You figure he might even get better. 1 ball, no strikes. They play him straight away in the outfield. Pat Corrales coaches at first, Jimmy Williams at third for the Braves. 2 balls, no strikes. Chased a pitch out of the strike zone. It appeared 2-1. You fans around the country, if you're Braves fans, the Atlanta Constitution this morning had about 4 different sections all about the Braves and about baseball and how it's changed in 1994. Might be a pretty good keepsake for you. I don't know exactly how you get it. Just rate the paper. Right through there, and it's 2-2. Sunday night opening day. Boy, that's
not making a lot of people happy in Cincinnati.
No, I would think not after the tradition, but television dictates. The 2-2. Fouled away. It's still 2-2. What, they're going to still have their parades Monday? And
yeah, I think in the mind, Mrs. Schott, Monday is still going to be opening day. And so they're having their opening day Monday.
Even though they're playing Sunday night. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Poole out of Georgia Tech. Up the middle. McLemore had him played well and throws him out 2 down. Mark McLemore throws out Blauser, and Terry Pendleton will be the batter. Fred McGriff moves on deck. You're going to see a lot of this year, folks. A lot of left-hand pitching against the Braves because their power is so predominantly left-handed. It's going to be interesting, too, to see how Bobby juggles that left field spot. With Kelly and Klesko and Tarasco all involved. Terry this spring hit .315, had a good spring, a homer, 12 RBI.
I think you're right about seeing a bunch of lefties this year, but at least for the Braves, for their left-handed hitters, a good start in San Diego because they probably will not see a left-hander out there for 4 days.
Padres really having a tough time this spring, which when you've had a disappointing year and been through all the stuff they've been through makes it a little tough for the fans. Very small crowd, we are told, is expected for the opener on Monday. I hope that's not the case. Tough hombre on the mound for him, Andy Bennis against Greg Maddux. The pitch. Had a home run cut, but came up empty. It's 2-2. Last we heard, 24,000 was the number of tickets sold for opening day in Jack Murphy Stadium. And when they've lost 11 in a row, that doesn't exactly make people rush to the box office. The 2-2. Chopped foul past third. $25,000 or so here. It looks like we're so spoiled by the great
empty,
fan. Yeah. 2-2 the count. Had him off stride, but he stayed alive and fouled it back.
Our pal Wayne Long here at the stadium was telling me earlier, apparently somebody has said that they thought all the games were sold out. Definitely that is not the case. There are still plenty of good tickets, everything except for opening day. He did say that Tuesdays through Thursdays are the best chances to get good seats, but there's still a lot of seats left for Braves game. Especially during the school year through like June 1st. Pretty well hit into right center field, but Hammonds is there and puts it away. And Poole gets him 1-2-3 in the first at the end of an inning. No score in the ball game. We go to the second inning. Chris Hoyles will lead it off. This guy's a pretty good hitter. He's the catcher for the Baltimore team. Hit .310 last year. In only 419 at bats, had 29 homers, 82 RBI. Hoyles, Sabo, and Mark McLemore will be the first 3 for the O's. You're talking about the left-handed top-heavy lineup for the Braves. What Hoyles has done is kind of taken a little heat off of Cal Ripken as a right-hander and adding Chris Sabo too. Now they have really good balance, both in their starting 8, starting 9 if you count the DH, and coming off the bench too. Hoyles out of Bowling Green, Ohio. 6-footer, 215 pounds. 1 ball, no strikes. The count. We're talking about how improved the Orioles figure to be, as Don said, if they get any pitching. Say another team in our league that could take a big step forward is your old club, the Dodgers. Yeah, I think that not a lot of people are taking them real seriously. When you listen to people talk, they've almost conceded that division to the Giants. Not so. I don't think so. Right off the end of the bat, foul. I think the lineup to Shields is going to make such a difference there. He's going to take some pressure off Brett Butler, and Butler in the number 2 spot with his ability to bunt. Shields is going to get on, get some speed. Karras and Piazza, a year older. That's going to be a good ball club.
The Korean youngster will help their pitching staff. Dreifert will help their pitching staff. Todd Worrell may be back to the good pitcher he was before his arm injury in St. Louis. 2-2 the count. So the Dodgers can be tough.
We were talking about Braves going to see a lot of left-handers. The Dodgers are going to see a lot of right-handed heavy lineups because they don't have a. Right now, there's not a lock left-hander on their pitching staff.
The 2-2. He fought off a breaking ball, stayed alive. Jerry Naran makes the play, the third base coach. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. We are scoreless in the second. Don Sutton, Skip Carey with you from the ballpark. Into the dirt and a full count the result. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Ed Mangan and his crew have done another outstanding job. The field looks terrific. Pop foul back into our booth where I dropped it. Hit me in a bad place right in the hand.
I wouldn't have said a word. I was going to congratulate you on making a great catch. Oh, great one.
Better with the hand than with any other part of the anatomy. Reflexes like a.
I had you covered all the way, big boy. Okay if I come out from under this table now?
Hoyles walks. Had the reflexes of a cat on that one. Unfortunately, the cat was 104 years old. And Chris Sabo is the batter. Runner at first, nobody out.
So you can tell that Hoyles is an American League player. National Leaguers know us well enough. They don't dare hit it up here.
Right. Sabo had a not too successful spring, just 246. Chopped to short, might be 2, might not be any. Air Blauser. In his anxiety to try to get the double play, he came up empty.
I think a couple of things happened on this. The ball came off the front of the plate. Look at the overspin, and it dives, comes up a little bit short of where Blauser was expecting it. And Jeff, knowing that a high chop took away some of his time, was trying to catch it, unload in one motion, hit it right on the end of the glove. Blauser makes that play 9 times out of 10.
Mark McLemore, the batter, hit 284 with Baltimore last year. He drove in 72 runs, stole 21 bases. Not much of a power hitter, only 4 homers. That's a lot of RBIs for a guy who only hits 4 home runs. So Smoltz in a jam, not all of his own making here. Short of the bunt, took a strike, 0-1. Jeffrey Hammonds is next, and then the pitcher, Jim Poole. He's swinging, and he hits it foul past first. He showed bunt on the first pitch. Then they cut him loose. See what they do, 0-2. Jerry Naran has flashed the signs from third base. Right through there, threw a fastball right down the middle. McLemore was expecting anything but that. 1 out. First strikeout for Smoltz.
If you got John Smoltz's fastball, you can do this a lot of times. Charlie O'Brien says, give me something on the outside corner. Caught maybe a little bit more of the plate than John wanted it to, but I think you hit it right on the head. I think that's the last thing McLemore was looking for.
Hammonds hit 305 last year with Baltimore, then got hurt. They're really high on this guy, aren't they? I know you talked to Johnny Oates about it.
Oh, he is such a talented kid. Now, I saw him. It was down in Cuba. I saw him play during the Goodwill games, and he was the Pan Am games. That's what it was. He was tagged for greatness back then.
That's where you spent 14 days down there, 11 of them at the airport, right?
That's right.
The 0-1 pitch. Looped into left center field. On the run is Dion. He's going to get there. 2 down. And the runners hustle back to their respective bases. With that blazing speed of his, Sanders didn't get a great jump on that ball, but then he outran it. 2 away. And the pitcher will hit.
It's a good jump. There's no doubt that he's got the speed. What I think you're going to see happen as the year goes on, you're going to see Deion Sanders get more comfortable playing the ball off the bat with a slicing movement from right and left-handers, and getting more comfortable taking charge in the outfield.
Have you heard anything about what's going to happen with our friend, the former Braves catcher, Greg Olson? Poole hit it hard, but fouled on the left side.
No, I didn't find out till yesterday. Lonnie Cooper, who represents Greg, was telling me that he got released. I wasn't even aware of it till yesterday.
Yeah, he had a tough spring. Got off to a bad start with the death of his father-in-law. He had to leave camp for that. Wound up hitting less than 100. 083, I think, was his average, and the Mets released him. Poole broke a bat. Goes to get another one. I hope he hooks on with somebody, because he's a terrific person.
He'll do a good job with somebody's pitching staff. If you have an organization that maybe has a catcher who's primarily known for offense and a chance to have a good pitching staff, they'll come calling.
And he's not a great hitter by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a better hitter than that. The 0-1 to Poole, who with a National League background, this is not the first time he stood in there to hit. 1-1 the count. Two on, now two out. Chop to third. Pendleton to his left. He'll step on the bag, not risk a throw. And the inning is over. 2 on, nobody out. But Smoltz gets out of it in good shape. No hits, no runs, an error, and 2 left. We go to the bottom half of the second inning. No score in the ballgame. Fred McGriff will lead off the bottom of the second for Atlanta in a scoreless game. The White Sox here tomorrow. Tickets are available for you fans in the Atlanta area, or those of you who would care to drive in from the outlying area. And then away we go. 4 in San Diego to open the year, then 3 in Los Angeles. Then the Giants here for 3. Then we go away again, play the Cubs in a 3-game series. Then the Cardinals and Pirates come to call here from the 18th through the 24th. Braves on the road a lot in the early going. McGriff, a tough spring, 196 with a homer, 5 RBI. Justice, who follows him, every bit as bad, 191 this spring with 1 home run. Out of play, 0-1. They play McGriff straight away and deep. Just missed the inside corner. Poole looks good. He's pitched very impressively here.
Keeping his fastball down. He's changed speeds a couple of times. I've been really impressed with his curveball. Not only the break on it, but the location he's been able to put it in.
Sid Fernandez has had some physical problems. The former Met, he's got an earned run average around 18. He's only pitched in 2 games for him. Two balls and a strike. The count on McGriff. There's Sid. His friends and family watching in Honolulu. Look out, Fred. Breaking ball didn't bite. It's 3-1.
Well, just as I mentioned how good his curveball has been, he tries to overthrow one, leaves it inside. Most of the time when you see a guy overthrow a curveball, it will stay upstairs.
Fastball, fly ball, center field. Late break for Devereaux, still coming. He makes a diving catch. He broke back on that ball, but recovered and made a good play. 1 down.
Well, it's been said over and over, speed never goes into a slump, and you get a chance to see it here. You can see Devereaux break back 2 steps, then he kicks it in gear, takes a peek to Anderson to see if he's going to get it, and when he sees that he can't, kicks it up a notch and makes a catch. Mike Devereaux, a good defensive center fielder.
David Justice is the batter. Mike Kelly moves on deck. Hit hard, but fouled on the right side. Big gang from the Braves' new official publication, Chop Talk, out here at the ballpark today. Ed Baker hosted a luncheon. Mike Kelly, Bobby Cox, Leo Mazzoni among those who greeted the group over in the Stadium Club prior to the game. A ball and a strike, the count.
That luncheon, was it in the stadium club?
It was.
Was it big enough to hold all the columnists?
That was the only columnists there were Bobby and I. Fouled away. 1-800-700-CHOP is the number for those of you who'd like to hook up with Chop Talk.
My partner does a column in it, and twice I have found it very entertaining. I've only read 2.
2 out of 12 in bed. A ball and 2 strikes. I already know what I'm going to write about next time. Fly ball left field. Anderson is there. Now he lets it drop. He lost that ball, and it dropped in front of him.
It's very bright here, and a lot of white shirts and a bigger crowd and a bigger stadium, and I think you're seeing an adjustment having to be made both by Devereaux and by Anderson. That ball came off the David Justice's bat. He took a big swing, and a lot of times an outfielder can be deceived by that, and so it just goes off the end of the bat, and by the time he broke back and kicked it in gear, did the safest thing he could do, play it on a hop and hold him to a single.
If their outfield plays like this all year with their weak pitching already, it's going to be a little rough.
They'll look like Don Knotts at the end of the year.
Kelly is the batter. He had a great spring. That's why he's on this team. He was slated for Richmond. He pops that up. Infield fly rule is in effect as Ripken makes the play. It would have been in effect if there were 2 men on base, but since there's only one,
and since an infielder caught it, heck yes, it's an infield.
It's an infield fly. Here's Charlie O'Brien. He hit 276 this spring.
Charlie spent the bulk of his career with Oakland and Milwaukee, so he had a lot of friends on this Baltimore club. Was down visiting with them.
So you're
prior
trying
to the game.
Tell me those guys in the blue windbreakers aren't base runners. Those are the umpires.
Those are the umpires.
Oh. Pull to O'Brien. He fouls it back. 0-1. No score. Second inning. They play O'Brien straight away in the outfield. Mark Williamson, a right-hander, begins to throw in the Oriole bullpen. Late swing, fouled it back. 0-2 is the count. Poole normally a relief pitcher, so he won't go 5 or 6 innings in this game.
I think you thought I was kidding earlier when I said I talked to Johnny Oates, and he said I literally asked for volunteers today, because when Ben McDonald will be able to make his start in a regular season, but he was scheduled today, and just safety precaution, they kept him out of it.
A little bit outside, a ball and 2 strikes.
And Alan Mills was supposed to pitch, and he was unable to do it, so I think they drew names out of a hat.
The Orioles head home after this game, play the Phillies tomorrow, don't they? And then open against Kansas City.
That's correct.
The 1-2. Grounded foul past third. Count stays the same.
I asked Elrod Hendricks, one of the coaches, I said, you guys open at home? He said, we always open at home. We're the closest team to Washington.
I started to tell you, my next column is going to be about people that try to censor what you say. Take everything you say and try to make a political statement out. The 1-2 will not be made. Time is called by Mark Barron, the home plate umpire.
Will there be any additions or deletions from the column?
Yeah, I might be deleted when I get finished with this one. But if the Pulitzer committee is watching, don't worry about it. A ball and 2 strikes. Got him. Pulled the string. O'Brien way out in front. Poole records his second strikeout. 1 hit, no runs, no errors, 1 left. 2 innings have gone by, and we are scoreless in Atlanta. We go to the 3rd inning. Top of the order up there again for the Baltimore team. Brady Anderson will lead it off. He grounded to second his first time. No score after 2. Don Sutton, Skip Carey with you from the ballpark in Atlanta. And we'll be with you again tomorrow at 1:05. when the White Sox come to call.
Without Michael Jordan.
Without Michael Jordan. But with a heck of a ball club, one of the best in all of baseball. Anderson waits. Let up high. 1 ball, no strikes. John has thrown the change of pace a lot this spring and has had pretty good luck with it. Just missed. 2-0. Smoltz thought he had a strike.
It was a good changeup right there. He had good motion with it. John looks like to me, Skip, that he is opening up just a little bit more and not throwing across his body as much. And if he does that, you're going to see him get a lot more leverage with a lot less stress.
He falls behind 3-0. Three and 1 the count. Three balls and a strike. Brady Anderson is the batter. High pop, foul back and out of play. Payoff pitch. Let up, hit hard down the right field line. That is into the corner, and Anderson races for second. Justin has a shot at him, but he is in there with a sliding double. That time the change of pace hurt him. They had him played around to hit to the off field, and he pulled it into the right field corner. Leadoff man at second, nobody out.
I think John has twice had 3-2 counts, and both times he's gone to his second or third pitch rather than throwing his fastball. Got the changeup up. You saw him working on his motion there. Telegraphed it, got it up in the strike zone. Anderson is a guy you can overpower, so it was just exactly what he wanted. Good job of playing right field by David Justice. Played to Karam, came up ready to throw, short-hop Blauser, but he made that a lot closer than it should have been.
Mike Devereaux is the batter. Runner at second, nobody out. High and tight to Devereaux, who grounded to short his first time. The 1-0 pitch. He falls behind again. It's 2 balls, no strikes. The Orioles have lost their last 2, but they had a 6-game winning streak prior to those 2 losses. So they've played quite well lately, and they're at 500 for the spring.
The architect of this Oriole ball club is one of the true gentlemen and one of the real great baseball men, Roland Heeman. He has done a good job of putting this club together.
The 2-0 high drive, pretty well hit right field. Back goes Justice at the wall. It's gone. Devereaux takes him out the other way. A 2-run homer, and Baltimore has the lead. Devereaux's 3rd home run of the spring. He hit that ball a long way to the outfield, and the Orioles draw first blood.
He had 14 of them last year, and if I bet you checked, most of them were to center field or to right center field, and up and away fastball. He didn't pull off of it, stayed right down on it. I don't think anybody thought he was going to carry as far as it did. David Justice seemed almost surprised to run out of room.
Palmeiro the batter, and a good curveball drops in there for a strike. Looks like Poole is out there running in the outfield, which would mean his day's work is done. There's a jam job. And Blauser, oh boy, he almost lost that ball in the sun. It's a very high sky here, and a lot of infielders and outfielders are having trouble early in this game.
And right now where the sun is, you can see Blauser's looking right into it. And one thing he didn't do surprised me a little. You'll see him put their glove up and shade the sun. But that time when it passed through the sun, he's lucky that didn't pop out of his glove.
Ripken grounded to second base his first time. I popped. Blauser's really thrilled with this.
All right, you see where the glove is now, though.
Yeah, he had no trouble with this one because he did shade his eyes. 2 down. And Chris Hoyles will be the batter. He walked his first time.
Right now, Jeff's thinking, John, would you mind trying somebody else on the right side?
Get the ball hit on the ground somewhere. Two down. Hoyles stands in. He'll do the bulk of the catching for this team. Up and in. 1 ball, no strikes. Looking ahead to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Lemke, Smoltz, and Sanders are due for Atlanta. Downstairs, 2-0. Well, Don, who's going to win the Central Division in the National League?
Chicago Cubs.
You think so, really?
No, but I was pressed for an answer.
I thought we had a big story brewing here.
I think they're going to have a good year.
I think it'd be Cincinnati, Houston, St. Louis in a dead heat. Foul back.
Does that mean you're eliminating Pop's club?
Well, I can't do that because of the inheritance. Other than that, yeah.
You'll get to see that 2 more days, and that's one of the adjustments we have to make, is not seeing him run in the outfield afterwards.
The 2-2 pitch with 2 out, nobody on. High drive, deep left field. Back goes Kelly on the track at the wall. He makes the catch, crashes into the wall, and he's all right. A fine play. Kelly takes an extra base hit away from Hoyles right at the 385-foot mark. But 2 runs score on the 2 hits. There were no errors and nobody left. Bottom half of the 3rd inning coming up. Good play, Mike. 2-0 Baltimore.
Mike Kelly catch to end the inning. Boy, he played this nicely, kept his eye on the ball the whole way. The warning track lets him know that he's approaching the wall. He got himself in position to make the catch, came off the wall, and just made sure he held onto the ball. That's a nice play by the rookie outfielder.
Mark Williamson on the pitch. He's made this team as a non-roster performer. He had a good spring, 1-0, a 2.93 earned run average. He's been up and down between Baltimore and Rochester ever since 1987. Last year was 7-5 at Baltimore with a 4.91 earned run average. Grew up in Lemon Grove, California. And now lives in
Timonium, Maryland. You know where that is.
No, I didn't. And
right outside of Cockneysville.
I thank you for the help. Lemke leads it off. The Lemmer hit 295 this spring. Fastball from Williamson is right through there, 0-1. They play Mark straight away and not very deep in the outfield. Almost insultingly shallow. Curve chopped off the plate. Williamson battles the sun, makes a good play and throws him out. 1 down. Lemke is retired. Williamson didn't panic and made that play nicely. 1 away.
He got himself in position to make this play by not reaching up to grab the ball. Watch him wait for it to come down. Catches it almost side saddle so he can throw in one motion.
And got him by a step. Smoltz will hit for himself. John is not a bad hitter, but he's nowhere near as good a hitter as he thinks he is. Or at least says he is. Takes that one high. 1 ball, no strikes.
I like it when a pitcher goes 2-0 and he turns and looks at the third base coach to see if he's given the hit privilege.
Yeah, well, you never know.
Some of us were not.
3-0. Williamson will not make himself a friend in Johnny Oates here if he loses the pitcher. Right through there. It's 3-1. 3 balls and a strike. On the corner, just barely. It's 3-2.
I think Williamson thought he had walked him. He walked off the mound there. Hoyles may have done a good job there of adding to the strike zone. Watch him after he throws this pitch. Hoyles jerks it back in, but Williamson looks down, starts over. He's thinking, oh, no.
And he strikes him out. He rallies from the 3-0 count and disposes of Smoltz, his first strikeout. And Deion Sanders, the batter, he was a strikeout victim his first time.
Skip, Deion Sanders has plenty of power to hit a number of home runs. I think what you're going to see him do eventually is look for a pitch he can hit out of the park some of the times. Say on the first pitch, if he doesn't get it, take it. It's only 1 strike. Then he can go to taking some pitches and cutting and slashing and trying to get on.
The Braves hope he will be a Ricky Henderson type leadoff man, a guy with power. Into short left field, into foul territory. Nobody's going to get there. 0-1 on the Braves center fielder. Two 2-0 the score. Baltimore has the lead in the bottom of the 3rd. The 0-1 pitch, here it is. Swung, and there's a drive. Deep right field. That ball is gone. As promised by Don Sutton, a home run for Deion Sanders. It's 2-1.
I think he got the pitch he wanted on the first pitch and then popped it up, and Williamson made a mistake. When you'll see a pitcher make more than once, he comes right back, middle in, up, got all of it.
Jeff Blauser is the batter. Hit to third. Sabo, good play to his left. He can pick it over there. And the inning is over, but the Braves get one of the runs back on the Sanders homer, the only hit of the inning. No errors, nobody left at the end of 3. Baltimore 2, Atlanta 1. Well, the Orioles are leading by a hair here. It's 2-1 at the end of
brings to mind a song. They're coming to take me away. Ha ha. Hee hee.
Speaking of which, here with the play-by-play story, Don Sutton.
All right, Skip. Sabo, McLemore, and Hammonds. First 3 due up. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors for the Orioles. 1, 2, and 1 for the Braves. The only error made by Jeff Blauser off the bat of Chris Sabo his last time up. That'll get back our way, and appropriately we both ducked. No balls and a strike. Did you ever think, of course baseball has changed now with the salary restraints, but I thought Sabo was the kind of guy that would spend most of his career in Cincinnati.
I did too.
Smoltz bounces it up there. They'll leave it at 1-1.
The gamble on him, of course, is his health. His back has troubled him off and on for a number of years. If he's healthy, though, he can play. There's no doubt about that.
Well, Baltimore really went to the well this year in signing some free agents. They doled out some pretty good cash to try to make a run at Toronto. 1-2. That's a tough division. The Yankees are improved. Boston is improved, and our old buddy Otis Nixon had a good spring for the Boston Red Sox. Toronto, many people think, the class of the American League, and now Baltimore is taking a shot at him.
Peter Angelos, the new owner, has deep pockets apparently. And he spent a lot of money.
Up the middle and through. It's a base hit for Sabo. So the Orioles get the leadoff man on here in the 4th inning, 3rd hit of the day, and it'll bring up Mark McLemore.
Their vice chairman, Don, an interesting guy, Tom Clancy, the famous author.
Patriot Games.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he's one of the new owners of the Baltimore team.
Mark McLemore originally in the California Angels organization when Bobby Grich, who had such a great career not only here in Baltimore but out there, retired. Many people thought Mark was going to be heir apparent to that second base job, but never really got a chance to go to first. But they're not going to get Sabo. Never really got a chance to blossom. He spent some time in Houston. He played a number of places, but only the last couple of years has he come into his own here.
Funny how that works, isn't it? Boy, if you could ever figure that out. But no club has ever been able to. Everybody has stories of a guy who had to go elsewhere to become a big star.
I think he started playing pro ball when he was about 17 years old. If that's the case, then this will be about his 13th year of playing. To left field and deep, but foul. I think. The call being made by home plate umpire Mark Barron.
It's tough for the umpires when they work with just 3 because they're so used to working with a full complement. Kelly wasn't sure about this ball, and he did what you're supposed to do. If the umpire misses it, you don't want to be umpiring it. Just go get the ball and let him sort all that out later.
A ball and a strike to Mark McLemore. A little bit low, 2-1.
Yeah, he was born in October of '64, and his first year in pro ball was at Salem in 1982, so you're right on target.
He's been around for a while. I remember when he came to spring training in '86 with the California Angels, and it looked like he was going to have a shot at playing in '86. Came up at the end of the year. 236 one year, 240, 243, but for some reason never really got the shot there. That's inside, and it's 3-1 to McLemore. He went on to Cleveland, then to Houston, before he was released by the Astros and signed by Rochester. Good speed, McLemore does. Johnny Oates is one of those guys, Skip, that a long time ago, there are some players, I think, when you watch them play and you're around them, you know that they're thinking long range and that they're thinking like a manager when they're a player. That's ball 4 to McLemore. He'll trot to first. That'll put him at first and second. For Smoltz, a 3rd walk of the day. Still nobody out. That'll bring up Hammonds. Jeffrey Hammonds played 3 different places last year, put some pretty impressive numbers up at all 3. He went from Bowie to Rochester to Baltimore, never got below 283. Chris Sabo over to check on the signs with Jerry Narron. In the air to left field, and Mike Kelly puts it away. Oh, showing a little bit of an arm, maybe a little too much arm. 1 gone. That'll bring up Mark Williamson, and I think that time the Braves were thinking possibly of a bunt in that situation. In the American League, you're normally going to see the 9th place hitter. Well, the pitcher won't hit. You know that. They have the DH, so you won't see too many 8th place hitters bunting. And now with the pitcher here, don't be surprised to see Johnny Oates and the Orioles try a bunt. Terry Pendleton thinks so. He's flashing the signs to the rest of the infield. A beautiful Friday afternoon here in Atlanta. perfect spring day. Bunting but foul, and it's 0-1. More signs from Jerry Narron, who will someday be managing in the big leagues himself. Baltimore has quite a few candidates to manage over there. Don Buford, Davey Lopes, and Jerry Narron. Did they get him? Yes. You have heard us talk about the wheel play. Well, normally the wheel play sets this up, but they didn't have to go through that exercise first, and Sabo's a dead duck.
He had no chance. The throw was even a little bit high, but they still had him easily.
And what lulled him to sleep was he was watching Pendleton coming in and Blauser going to third. There's a strike to Williamson. It's 0-2. And when he watched them and took that extra step, he was dead. Boy, it's nice to get an out without having to throw a pitch.
That's right, Don.
Outside, 1-2.
Here's another look at it. You can see Sabo, all his weight is headed toward third base, and he's embarrassed.
Two outs, 1-2 to Williamson. The inning did not start in fine fashion for John Smoltz. Sabo got the single. He walked McLemore. But the pickoff of Sabo, the big play of the inning. That's out of play. Still 1-2. Williamson out of San Diego State University, I believe. That would have made him a teammate of Tony Gwynn's and Al Newman, who both graduated from San Diego State, or both went to San Diego State.
We know a lot of people that haven't graduated from San Diego State who attended there.
Was it the guy delivering our press credentials?
Yeah,
one of them?
our courier, Glenn Diamond.
And a darn good one he is. To Blauser. Oh, bad hop. Probably score that a base hit, but Blauser's lucky that didn't have dental work written all over it. McLemore to third, Williamson at first.
Now the pickoff play has saved Atlanta a run, and out comes Jeff Porter. Let's see if Blauser's hurting here. That ball may have jumped up and bit him.
Well, you saw him stick up his bare hand, Skip, so he could have caught that on the little finger.
And he's immediately coming out of the ball game, and you hate to see that. Rafael Belliard will come in his stead, and as soon as we find out what's what, we'll let you know. But the way Blauser headed off there,
didn't waste any time, did he?
No, it was not a good sign in my way of thinking. So the injury bugaboo that has pretty much avoided Atlanta the last several years rears its ugly head again here. We have no idea of the severity of the injury, but we're going to find out for you just as quickly as we can.
And if the news isn't bad enough, they gave Jeff an error on that.
Oh, you're kidding. Yeah, you can see right there he's already starting to flex that finger.
Well, they flashed error on the scoreboard in right center field, but we're being told by Hal Galima that they did give it a hit, and rightly so. It should have been. So McLemore is at third. Williamson is at first. Still two outs. Top of the order, Brady Anderson. He is 1 out of 2, grounded to second, and doubled. He's also scored a run. You know, Skip, you work on those pickoff plays all spring to the point where sometimes you think, do we have to do it again? And I realize this is exhibition right now, but you can see scouts busy scribbling that in their notebooks, and you put it in the mind of the opposing teams when you make it work just once. Good breaking ball, and it's 0-2.
And someday that might cost a runner at second base a 1 or 2 steps on his lead. And maybe that's the difference between a safe and out call at home plate with a big run on a ball game. You never know, but that's what you try to do. Boy, the Blauser thing, that's a little scary. That's bad news.
Good spot for that breaking ball, and it's 1-2. Braves with one more exhibition game before the season opener in San Diego on Monday. And we'll have that for you at 5:05 Eastern Daylight Time, as a matter of fact.
Look out.
Anderson stays alive. It's still 1-2. I think that's 5 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Good pitching matchup. Andy Bennis, Greg Maddux, two of the best right-handers in the National League. You can see the Braves don't expect Brady Anderson to pull John Smoltz. And he doesn't. That's out of play, and it's still 1-2. Orioles have one of those American League schedules. You find it seemingly more in the American League than the National League, where in a place where there could be inclement weather, they play Monday off Tuesday, play Wednesday off Thursday. To left field, Kelly's there, and he's got it. Well, it could have been worse. The Orioles get 2 on. They leave 2 stranded, and we'll find out about Blauser when we come back. Bottom of the 4th inning. We told you about opening day coming up on Monday, but there's more baseball here tomorrow. We'll have it for you on TBS. The Chicago White Sox come into town. Pitching matchup for that, I guess, is going to be Avery against Jason Beret. 1:05 tomorrow, right here from Fulton County Stadium. And then Monday, it's for real. Braves at the San Diego Padres, 5 o'clock Eastern time. We'll have all that for you. Opening day is just around the corner. I like that. I guess a lot of kids are on spring break. Saw a number of cars on the freeway on the way into the park today with Panama City Beach, Destin. Guys headed down there. So enjoy your time off. Terry Pendleton's going to lead it off. Fred McGriffin and David Justice. Did we have a word on Jeff Blauser, Skip?
No, not yet. Jim Schultz, the Braves director of public relations, has gone to the clubhouse and will stop by here first on his way back up to let us know what's what.
What scares you is Jeff didn't waste any time.
He just started walking.
That's it.
Scary.
That is never good news. Pendleton 0 for 1. He flied to right. Takes one high, and it's 1-0. Well, a lot of exciting news in football out of Dallas last week, huh?
How about that?
Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson parting ways. Johnson out of work. There's a strike to Pendleton, 1-1. I know what'll happen to him next year. He'll be in spring training with the Chicago White Sox in March.
It all started late at night in a cocktail lounge.
2-1 to Terry Pendleton. That's the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, exactly. I would say Mr. Johnson can pretty well write his own ticket. Maybe not this year, but next.
That's foul. Back took a bite out of Hoyles. 2-2. Pendleton coming off of a .315 spring, 17 out of 54. At 12 RBIs, that tied for tops on the ball club with Javi Lopez. Only 3 strikeouts. So Terry, good spring. Came to spring training in great shape, and he showed it. Full count, 3-2.
Tom Bolton, the veteran left-hander, in the bullpen now for the Orioles.
Speaking of Cincinnati, I think he made a stop there.
Yes, he did. The Red Sox.
Got him. Good pitch from Williams. And he picks up his second strikeout. 1 gone in the 4th inning. Here's Fred McGriff. McGriff, as Skip told you earlier, not a great spring. 196. He was 10 out of 51. There are some people, I think, if they had a spring training where they hit under 200, you would worry. Good breaking ball from Reeves, 0-1. And I know Fred will tell you he would have liked to put bigger numbers up there, but before the year is over, pencil it in. It'll be near 290, 300, the batting average. 1-1. The home run total in the 30s and the RBIs near 100.
Last year he had a very bad April for San Diego, hit about 190. But look at the numbers by the time the year had come to a close.
Two 2-1 to McGriff. Fred's taking golf lessons and likes it. And he hits a golf ball, plays left-handed, just as far as he hits a baseball. He kills a golf ball.
How about Lemke getting a hole-in-one? Is that true, or is that all of it?
To left field. Long run for Anderson. He's fighting the sun and makes the catch. The left side of the diamond, a tough place to be. Either that or he tripped over the foul line.
It's the first time I ever saw anybody moonwalk on his knees. That was interesting. He's fighting this baby all the way. As we said, it's a very high sky, and he's not familiar with the ballpark. He knows there's a wall around there somewhere. Saying, let me out of here. He's trying to sneak out. Watch.
Here's David Justice. So Lemke made an ace, huh?
That's what I hear.
Well, I hope not. That was set golf back 100 years. Strike one to Justice.
You ever had one?
No, I haven't. Thank you very much. That proves there is no justice in golf. Lemke, a hole-in-one?
Rumor has it.
I wonder if he got it through the windmill to do it. Or the clown's mouth.
No. I think it was on a par 5, too.
I doubt that very seriously. A ball and a strike to David Justice. On the outside corner, 1-2. Lemke employs the David Kingman theory of hitting a golf ball. Swing hard in case you make contact. Justice is gone. Good inning for Williamson. He sets down Pendleton, McGriff, and Justice. Braves go quietly. 4 in the books as we head to the 5th. It's 2-1 Baltimore. Orioles up by 1 as we roll into the top of the 5th inning. Couple of changes for the Braves. Mike Bielecki. Bobby Cox has penciled him in as the pitcher now following John Smoltz. Bielecki will hit in the 3rd spot. Coming in to play 3rd base in place of Terry Pendleton is Bill Pecota. You can put him in the 9th spot if you're keeping score. Not the type of outing that we've seen from John Smoltz all spring, but a pretty good way to finish out your spring training. John went 4 innings, gave up 4 hits. He walked 3, struck out 1, only the home run really tainted. You see Bielecki's numbers from last year, but he has put together an impressive spring. This is his 9th ball game. He's pitched 16 innings. He's walked 5. He struck out 10. His earned run average right about 2.8, and baseball only hitting about 170 against Bielecki this spring.
And he's a native of Baltimore.
Two and 1 to Devereaux. Devereaux's accounted for all of the Baltimore runs. An opposite field home run off John Smoltz. Up the middle. Belliard to McGriff. Good start in the 5th. Devereaux's gone. I'll bring up Rafael Palmeiro. Out of Mississippi State. The Chicago Cubs. The Texas Rangers. And one heck of a year last year. Palmeiro won't be 30 until September. He had 295. He played in 160 ball games. Didn't mean to, and it's 0-1. He was injured most of last spring, got a late start in spring training. But he came on with 290, 37 homers, 105 RBIs, 22 steals. One and 1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Palmeiro, a real hero to a lot of youngsters down in Cuba. Nice play, McGriff. Malecki's there, 2 gone.
Wonder how much longer, Don, it'll be until Cuban players from the island are allowed to play Major League Baseball. Looks like it's getting closer all the time as the political climate changes. Another look at the good play by McGriff. Not only getting to the ball, but he got it to Malecki in plenty of time for him to catch it and then look down and find the bag.
Well, Arocha is with St. Louis Cardinals.
Right.
And depending on what publication you read, there are those who think that it's not far away, maybe as soon as next year or year after next. There are a lot of good ball players in Cuba.
Well, we saw him out at the, what was it, Goodwill games in Tacoma.
And I saw him in the Pan Am games down in Havana.
The third baseman, I forget his name. Was it Linares or something like that?
To right center field. Justice in front of Sanders. A good inning for Bielecki. The Orioles go 1-2-3. We're halfway home. Joe and Pete are on the way. Skip and I'll see you tomorrow. 2-1 Baltimore.
And we welcome you back to Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. Joe Simpson, Pete Van Weren joining you as we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. The Orioles leading at 2-1. A beautiful afternoon here in Atlanta, Joe, and a good chance for Braves fans to get a look at 2 American League teams today and tomorrow that could be big factors in their respective races this year.
I think Baltimore's really improved their ball club, especially with the additions of Sabo and Palmeiro, Pete. But the White Sox, too, they were already strong. They've just continued to fine-tune that ball club. And with realignment, I think not only is Baltimore going to make a serious challenge at Toronto, but I think Chicago might be a lock in the Central Division.
We have a new shortstop. I believe that's Gonzalez. And we also have a new pitcher, left-hander Tom Bolton, a non-roster pitcher trying to make it on this Baltimore staff. The numbers he compiled with the Detroit Tigers a year ago. And Mike Kelly leads off here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Williamson worked 2 innings, allowed a run, a hit, that home run by Deion Sanders. Kelly, who popped to short his first time, fouls off the first one. The count 0-1.
Jack Voigt, new first baseman.
So Voigt at first, Rene Gonzalez over at short, and Tom Bolton now on the mound as the count goes to 0-2 on Kelly.
Great story about Kelly making this ball club, wasn't it?
He goes down and strikes. Yes, it was a very unexpected story. Even coming to camp, Mike Kelly only wanted to attract enough attention so that if the Braves had a player go down in the middle of the season, he would be the first guy that came to Bobby Cox and John Schuerholz's mind to be called up. He had no idea that a good spring would earn him a spot on this team.
Well, he had a quote early in spring training, I believe, something to the effect of, "I'm going to make it hard on him to send me down," and that's exactly what he did. And although we don't have the stats on his B game numbers, he had some incredible figures and some B starts.
Charlie O'Brien taking a strike. Well, he had one game where he drove in 7 at a grand slam home run and a 3-run homer in the same game, in a B game. The 1-1 now on Charlie O'Brien. That's out of play to count 1-2. So many stories like the story of Tom Bolton this spring. Players who are non-roster free agents, can't get a contract anywhere. Usually they sign a minor league contract to get a chance to show what they can do in some camp, and then they hang on till the very end, and they're on the bubble as it gets down to the final couple of days of spring training. Every pitch they throw, every batter they face, very important to them right now.
And a guy like Bolton, of course, for Johnny Oates, he knows he's been through the wars before, and he's going to get every opportunity to make this ball club because of his experience.
That's going to drop into left field. Good hustle by Brady Anderson to hold Charlie O'Brien to a long single. And a runner at first with 1 down now for Mark Lemke.
We were talking about this over on the radio site, Pete, the fact that this Orioles outfield compares very favorably to the one that gets a lot of publicity in Montreal with the likes of Moise Alou, Marquise Grissom, and Larry Walker. All three of these Orioles outfielders are center fielders. They cover a lot of ground. They know how to play the game, and they can really go get the ball and help the Orioles defensively.
Lemke 0 for 1. He bounced to the pitcher his first time up. Braves now with 3 hits off this Oriole bullpen, really, who are doing all the pitching for Baltimore today. A chance for 2 here as Sabo goes to McLemore. 1 on to Voit in time. Double play. 5-4-3 hit into by Atlanta. And that'll take care of the Braves in the 5th inning. We go to the 6th with our score remaining 2-1 Baltimore.
2-1 Baltimore after 5 innings of play here in Atlanta. And a reminder that tonight on TNT, special time 9 o'clock, will be the NBA. The Atlanta Hawks travel to Phoenix to take on the Suns. Bob Neal and Doug Collins will have the play-by-play story for you. That's the NBA on TNT tonight at 9 o'clock.
And as we go to the 6th inning, we have a new second baseman. That's Jose Almeida. He's one of the minor leaguers the Braves brought along for these 2 exhibition games. He will open the season at Richmond. And on the mound, veteran right-hander Steve Bedrosian, having one of the best springs in his career. 8 games, a 1-0 record, 13 innings, only 5 hits allowed, only 1 run allowed. That was a home run by Matt Noakes. 4 walks, 9 strikeouts. And on the fast radar gun, some scouts have clocked his fastball at 97 miles an hour this spring.
I think I have to be sitting there to see that gun myself, but I think the fact remains that
he is
has
throwing as good as he ever has thrown in his career.
Feeling great.
And the first pitch to Hoyles, a strike in the outside corner. Mike Bilecki worked a 1-2-3 inning. Sort of been the pattern these last few exhibition games. The starting pitcher has gone 3 or 4 innings, and then we see a host of others going 1 inning at a time, including some minor leaguers who are brought along for that reason. Into deep center field, long run for Deion Sanders, and over his head. He got a late jump on that ball, never could catch up with it, and Chris Hoyles has himself a leadoff double.
Hoyles can put a charge in the ball, as I'm sure Don and Skip told you. He had a tremendous year last year with the Orioles. A very underrated player in the American League, in my opinion. And Deion, not only is he having trouble tracking that one down, also battling the sun a little bit as he was going back. But that ball was hit well.
Now Chris Sabo, he reached on an error in the 2nd, singled in the 4th. Lines this one to right. And it rattles around the Braves bullpen. The count 0-1.
Johnny Oates has already fallen in love with this guy and the way he goes about his business. A great quote from him a few days ago. Somebody asked him how much he likes spring training. He says, "I don't like to do anything that doesn't count."
That's always been his nature. Very tough blue-collar style of player. Bounced off Bedrosian's glove, and it's going to be run down by Steve, but he won't have a play anywhere. And they're safe at 1st and 3rd.
See where this one got Steve. Hopefully it was on the shoe somewhere. Instep. And hopefully he's all right. We got a report on Blauser. He was struck on the ring finger of his right hand, and he's been taken for precautionary x-rays.
And now Mark McLemore, who had struck out and walked. Should point out on the Blauser injury, it was the Tuesday game in West Palm Beach against the New York Mets when Blauser made a diving try for a ball hit between short and 3rd on sort of a wet infield, and he developed a blister on the top of that finger, the top of that ring finger on his throwing hand. Bothered him for the rest of that day and a little bit since then. So that is also.
It was hit hard and bad hop. He just tried to throw his bare hand up there to try to knock it down.
So he already had a blister in the top of that finger, so that really had to sting. And they will take precautionary x-rays. Hopefully we'll have a report before the end of the game. The runner at 3rd will have to stay put as O'Brien throws out McLemore on that swinging bunt. Down to 2nd goes Sabo, 1 out. And runners at 2nd and 3rd. Now Jeffrey Hammonds has flied to center and flied to left.
Jeffrey Hammond's certainly a highly touted player coming out of Stanford University and a #1 pick by the Orioles a couple of years ago. Got a very high compliment, I think, from Davey Lopes. I was talking to Lopes before the ball game. First base coach for the Orioles said he thinks this guy may be the fastest right-handed batter he's ever seen coming out of the box from home to first.
There's the longtime Dodger and Astro, Davey Lopes, now first base coach for the Orioles. Pitches low. A ball and no strikes on Jeffrey Hammonds.
Nice stop by O'Brien again, and you're going to see a lot of that this year.
Excellent defensive catcher, excellent throwing arm, excellent at handling pitchers. Here's the 1-0. In for a call strike, 1-1. One man out, runners second and third. Orioles leading at 2-1. Bedrosian, the third pitcher to work for Atlanta. Smoltz worked the first 4 innings, allowed a couple of runs, 4 hits, walked 3, and struck out 1. And it's now 2-1 on Jeffrey Hammonds. Three and 1 the count goes.
Even in spring training, if you've got first base open, you're not going to give in to a hitter unless you have to, and he's going to probably show Hammond something outside again.
And the 3-1 pitch fought off foul. Full count, 3-2. Voit, the on-deck hitter, you saw him a moment ago. He took over at first base and is now hitting in the 9 spot. You kind of have to wait in these spring training games. Not quite as many signals up to the press box from the umpires as to where everybody's hitting with all these numerous changes. There's a little tap toward third. Pacoda might have a play at the plate. Throw home a little bit too high for Charlie O'Brien to handle. And the run is in. Safe at third, Chris Sabo. Safe at first is Jeffrey Hammonds. It's now 3-1. A good throw. I think they've got him, but the throw is high and popped out of O'Brien's glove.
Tough play for Pacoda in that he's right in the baseline. He's got to throw around the runner who's between he and O'Brien, and as a result trying to get the ball over the runner, threw it high.
He'll be charged with an error on this throw.
You see him charging near the line. The runner's in the baseline. In fact, he's in the fair territory side of the baseline, and that's why Bill had to try to be perfect with that. Again, you can check out the angle. And unlike running to first base, this runner does not have to run in foul territory.
So the Orioles up by 2 now, 3-1, and John Voit the batter. With Baltimore last year, 296, 6 homers, 23 RBIs. This spring, 265 for the O's with no homers, 3 RBIs. He's from Sarasota, Florida. Born in Sarasota, grew up in Venice. And an LSU teammate of Ben McDonald. 1-0 pitch. Sharply hit. Nice play by Almeida to short one. Belliard to first. They won't get the double play, but I want to tell you what, Jose Almeida, who's been borrowed by Bobby Cox from the Braves minor league camp each of about the last 4 or 5 days, has made some spectacular defensive plays at second base. He has great range.
And to go along with that, every time he's got an opportunity to go to the plate, he's made the most of it too. He is hitting .455 on the spring, 5 for 11 out of the University of Oklahoma.
Another run is in to make it 4-1. Give Voit the RBI. And we're back to the top of the order. Brady Anderson, who had a double back in the third, has only hit in 3 at-bats. You're seeing more and more managers now at the end of spring training doing what Bobby Cox does. The Orioles have some players like that with them today too. They pretty much have their 25-man roster set, but they want to take a look at some youngsters, and they also want to give some of the guys who are going to be doing a lot of playing once the bell rings a little time to take it easy for a couple of days. And so Braves have had 4 or 5 players virtually every day, and they always wear uniforms in the 80s. We've been calling them the Lost Battalion.
The Braves team in the 80s.
Fouled off.
One difference, though, in these two managers as far as their everyday players are concerned. When you look at guys that you know are going to be in the lineup every day for Atlanta and for Baltimore, you look at Cal Ripken and his at bats. 64 at bats. Palmeiro 61 at bats. Devereaux 59. Those are a lot for your everyday players.
Runner is going. The pitch hit high and deep to center. But Deion Sanders battling that sun. It's a high sky today. It's causing a lot of problems on fly balls and pop-ups. But Deion stayed with that one. And the side is retired. But the Orioles score 2 more. It's 4-1 as we head to the bottom of the 6th.
Entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Atlanta National League Baseball Club is prohibited.
And here's Bill Pecota leading off the 6th for Atlanta, taking ball 1. Bill was first at bat today this spring, hitting .227, homer and 5 RBIs. A couple of changes for Baltimore, a couple of new infielders. Leo Gomez at third now. Tim Hewlett has taken over at second. Tom Bolton working his second inning. Count goes to 2-0. On Pecota. Pecota has a new role this year with the ball club. Braves are only going to carry 2 catchers. And if something should happen to both during a game, Bill Pecota is the emergency backup, number 3 catcher.
I wonder if that'll cut into the amount of batting practice he throws also. He likes to come out early.
Yeah, he's the first guy out in the field every day. Count 3-1. And Bolton's 3-1 delivery bounced toward third. Gomez backing up on that ball, still fields and throws out Pecota, 1 down.
Pete, talking to Johnny Oates before the ball game, the skipper for the Orioles, I said, you've got to be excited about starting this season and anxious to get started with the team you can put on the field. He said, I am. He said, and we should be just fine if we can get people out. And of course, a couple of questions with some injuries with his starting rotation, but he knows they're going to score some runs.
The scouts that we see in South Florida covering the teams based down there usually travel one circuit around Florida and watch each team for a couple of days, and many of them feel that Baltimore right now has the best offensive club in the American League, top to bottom. But they would agree with you that pitching, especially starting pitching, they're a little bit thin until they get all their people back. Sid Fernandez still hampered by an injury. 2-0 the count on Deion, who had his first spring training home run in third.
Oates told me that he expects to have Sid Fernandez back about the middle of April.
That's going to bounce into right field over the head of the first baseman, Voit. And Deion aboard with a 1-out single. His bat coming to life late in spring training.
And he gets a hit off a left-handed pitcher, and that's a good sign. His on-base percentage also in spring training has crept up to the 400 mark coming into today's play, and he's 2 for 3 today.
That's only the 4th Atlanta hit. And Rafael Belliard now bats for the first time, 152 this spring. Has a couple of triples. He does have 5 RBIs. Belliard, I will never forget his quote after the Braves had clinched the National League West last year. I walked past him in the locker room and said, 3 in a row, Rafi, and he said 4 for me. He had been with the Pirates the year before he joined the Braves. He's used to that postseason situation. Terry Clark, who has been already taken off the major league club but has accompanied the team up here to Atlanta, is warming up now in the Atlanta bullpen. It's kind of a tough cut.
Oh boy,
he pitched great. There were some tough cuts this year. Bouncing ball second, got a chance for 2 here on the first. No, Belliard beat the wrap there. Hewlett to Gonzalez gets Deion Sanders, but Belliard beats the relay throw to first.
Well, everybody was pained by the fact that Jarvis Brown didn't make the ball club. There just wasn't room for everybody, and he certainly deserved to be on the ball club by the way he played in spring training. And if he's not claimed by someone, certainly I think we still might see Jarvis Brown in a Braves uniform before the season's out if they re-sign him to a AAA contract. And this guy as well. I think we'll see him too.
Here's Terry Pendleton. Or no, Dave Gallagher is going to bat for Pendleton. Bat for the pitcher, batting in Pendleton's spot. It is spring training. We can't keep up with all the changes here. Gallagher this spring 259, 5 doubles, 6 RBIs. His bat came alive late. He was having a very slow spring for the first 2 or 3 weeks. Count 0-1. Looped into shallow left field. That's got a chance and will fall in front of Anderson for a pinch hit single for Dave Gallagher.
Yeah, I think part of the reason some of the players were upset and voiced their disapproval of Jarvis Brown not making the club, and the fact that Gallagher did, you can't go by just what happened in spring training. I know Jarvis had a good spring, but this guy Gallagher has been a big leaguer for some time. He's shown that he can do it on a consistent basis in the major leagues, and he is still a true center fielder. He can go get the ball too and help you out in a lot of different ways.
First and second now with 2 down for Fred McGriff, who's fly to center and fly to left. And he drills this one deep to right center field. This is going to be out of here. 3-run homer for Fred McGriff to tie the game at 4. His second spring training homer.
Speaking of people whose bats have been coming around, that one wasn't hit as far as the one he hit over in the practice field at West Palm Beach, but it was a low laser off the left-hander with the beautiful high finish. He knew where it was going to land.
So Tom Bolton's chances of making this Oriole ball club being hurt here in the 6th inning, giving up 2 hits to lefties, a single to Deion Sanders and a long home run by Fred McGriff. And now another one to deal with, David Justice, who has singled and struck out. The count 2-0. Fred McGriff, 30+ homers each of the last 6 years. It's now 2-1. One of the preseason books, and there are many of them out that talk about players and rate players and what kind of expectations they have for 1994. If you compare Willie McCovey's numbers at that stage in his career that Fred McGriff is at right now, they're almost identical. Home runs, RBIs, batting average, everything very, very close.
Boy, is that good company.
Here's the 3-1 pitch to Justice. That's hit back up the middle. Nice play by Hewlett. Let's see if he can throw out Justice. He can't. Another lefty connects for a hit off Bolton. And that'll bring up Mike Kelly. Bobby Cox making the statement yesterday that the Braves, if they had planned on using Mike Kelly just to pinch hit and play occasionally, would not have kept him. He is going to see some playing time. The Braves expect to see a lot of left-handed starting pitchers working against them because of all the left-handed bats they have in their lineup. And the threat of a right-hander with some power like Mike Kelly in the lineup, and he will be in the lineup against lefties in left field. Brian Kowitz, another of the Richmond players who accompanied the team to Atlanta, pinch runs now for Justice. But you will see Kelly playing against left-handed starters at the outset of the season.
This has got to be a very exciting day for him, even though it's an exhibition game. You couldn't prove it by Mike Kelly with about 30,000 folks in the seats.
Takes it low, ball 1. It's an exciting day for every rookie, even the guys who had been here at the end of last year. Guys like Tony Tarasco, you could see a little gleam in their eye when they got off that bus last night at the ballpark here.
Yeah, but at the same time, Pete, your first big league ballpark game is always special, and you're always a little nervous about it, even if it is an exhibition game. He's got to be a little nervous today.
Kind of a break for him, really, to have a couple of games to get the feel of a major league ballpark. It's a lot different if you're an outfielder, especially dealing with those triple deck stadiums.
Absolutely.
Judging fly balls.
Even Kowitz has had some success in some at bats he's had, including a home run at Vero Beach the other day that proved to be the difference in the ball game.
He will open the year at Richmond. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Kelly, and there's a high chopper. It's going to go into left field. Base hit. Kowitz will stop at second, and Kelly aboard as the beat goes on here against Tom Bolton.
You got a feel for Bolton a little bit. He's given up a high bouncing base hit to Sanders, and now to Kelly. Also a high bouncing infield hit to Justice. A little bloop single to Dave Gallagher. The only real hard hit ball was the rocket by McGriff for a 3-run homer. And maybe Johnny Oates wants to try to keep things from getting worse so he doesn't lose total confidence here.
The new pitcher is Tom Wegman, who just came over from the New York Mets in the trade for Dave Segui. Tom Bolton rocked in this outing, and we'll be back. Look at Tom Bolton sitting in the far corner of the Baltimore Orioles dugout. He's probably not only wondering when he will pitch again, but for whom he will be pitching next, because you have an outing like this when you're on the bubble at the end of spring training. It almost always means that the manager is going to want to talk to you sometime in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, and we'll give you the numbers on Tom Wegman, who's completing his warm-up tosses. There's his AAA numbers at Tidewater last year. But I'm thinking about Terry Clark, who's still throwing in the Braves bullpen. Here's a guy 33 years old, has pitched very well, suffered a broken finger on his little finger on his right hand, continued to pitch and pitch well. And you just have to feel for those guys at this stage of their career who are battling, and know that in Bolton's case, one outing in spring training may cost him a job.
Wegman is 6 feet, 185 pounds, out of Dyersville, Iowa. Acquired from the Mets in the David Segui trade, and he misses outside with the first pitch. He's a youngster, 25 years old, primarily relief pitching with Norfolk last year. 44 games, 42 of them in relief. Here's the 1-0 pitch. There's a strike. And two of the players, Joe, that we were talking about on the bubble, guys who had good springs but not good enough to stick with this ball club, we've just learned have cleared waivers and have agreed to report to Richmond. Jarvis Brown will report to Richmond. Mike Birkbeck, who also pitched very well this spring, will also report to Richmond. That announcement just made. 1-1 the count on O'Brien. 1 for 2. Upstairs 2-1.
Doesn't surprise me 100%, but I'm a little surprised about Jarvis Brown, that somebody didn't take a chance on him in light of the spring he had.
Bobby Cox said the real tough part about cutting Jarvis Brown was early in spring training. There were some things that they wanted Jarvis Brown to work on, and he did work on them and improved in all those areas. And he said when you see a player put forward the kind of effort like that and do the things that you're asking him to do and put the numbers up, it's really, really tough to walk him into your office one day and say sorry. But believe me, there are a lot bigger names than that didn't make their ball clubs this spring. This was one of those springs where every day you picked up the newspaper and you'd see a very familiar name on the cut list from some ball club, whether it was Greg Olson by the Mets, Jesse Barfield by Houston, Steve Balboni, Chris Gwynn, both cut loose by Kansas City.
Remember Chris Gwynn? He had 300 last year for Kansas City.
And you don't make the team the next year.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, here's Olmeda, Jose Olmeda, who made that nice play at second base. He'll be at Richmond this year. Played at Greenville last year at 279, 9 homers, 51 RBIs, and stole 15 bases.
I like the way he stands up there. Very calm stride into the ball, doesn't lunge at the ball. And as I mentioned, 5 for 11 this spring. He has really made the most of his at-bats.
He's a switch hitter, just 5'8", 155. Count goes to 2-0 on Olmeda. He is from Puerto Rico. Now, when you're from a foreign country, or not a foreign country, Puerto Rico is not a foreign country, it's part of the United States territory. But you come to spring training and you take everything that you own because you're not sure where you're going to wind up. I wish you could have seen the size of the canvas duffel bag that Olmeda pulled off of the truck last night. It's bigger than him. I'm not kidding you. It took 2 people to cart it off. He's got everything he owns in that duffel bag to take to Richmond. Set up.
Yeah, and these guys don't mind at all having to pack up and come here and then head over to Richmond. I know that feeling, being taken with the big league club for a couple of exhibition games and having to avoid those last few days of spring training with the minor league camp.
Bases loaded, 2 outs in a 4-4 game, and a count of 2-0 on Olmeda. And Wegman having trouble throwing strikes. He walked Charlie O'Brien on 5 pitches. He's behind 3-0 on Olmeda.
Most of them in the same spot, that left-handed batter's box. He missed wide to Charlie O'Brien, and he's inside to Olmeda.
Olmeda's 6th year in the Braves organization. He was a 24th round draft pick in June of '89. And he walks with the bases loaded to give the Braves a 5-4 lead. Give him an RBI. So Wegman has come in and walked 2 in a row. This is Wegman's first appearance for the Orioles. He pitched in 2 games with the Mets. Pacota's second at bat in the inning. He grounded out to third to open the inning. 5-4 Atlanta. There's a strike, 0-1. That evens the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ryan Klesko has come out to the on-deck circle. Another of the youngsters has had a great spring. And there's a base hit for Pacota. That'll get Kelly home. And here comes Charlie O'Brien. He'll score. Now they've got 2 runners down at second base, Pacota and Olmeda. And they're going to get Olmeda in the rundown between second and third. And with all sorts of Orioles surrounding him, Olmeda
And he's
could hardly find a route to get back to second.
And tagged out by the center fielder.
Out number 3, but the Braves score 6 in the bottom half of the 6th inning and lead it 7-4.
7-4 Atlanta as we go to the top half of the 7th inning. Here's the base hit by Pacota again. Jimmy Williams waving Charlie O'Brien home on this play. Looked like they were going to have a play at the plate as Anderson cut loose a great throw, but it was cut off by Leo Gomez. And then the parade started at second base. He now notices he's got 2 runners standing at second. Olmeda, who's supposed to be there, Bill Pacota, who's not. But the funny part about this is right here, Rene Gonzalez's throw back to second goes to Mike Devereaux, the center fielder, who's there to back up the play and make the tag.
And we go to the 7th inning with the Braves up 7-4. And there's Terry Clark, the veteran right-hander. Joe told you about breaking the little finger on his pitching hand early in spring training, but still in 6 outings and 9 2/3 inning, he did not give up a run. Only 3 hits all spring. And he has been around. Most of his years spent at the AAA level. He does have a little bit of major league experience. High in the air center field, Gallagher, who's now taken over in center, battles the sun out there, and Devereaux retired to begin the 7th. Tell you a little about Terry Clark. Terry Clark began his baseball career all the way back in 1979 in the Cardinals organization. He's now 33 years old. He has played in Johnson City, Gastonia, St. Petersburg, Little Rock, Louisville, Little Rock again, Midland, Edmonton, cup of coffee with California, back to Edmonton for a couple of years, Tucson, little bit of time with Houston, Colorado Springs, Wichita, and last year at Rancho Cucamonga. The earthquakes. I mean, that's sort of the end of the minor league road when you've been in the game for 14 years and you're back at the A level.
That's
to try to hang on.
Rattlesnake country.
The Rancho Cucamonga earthquakes.
But give him credit for hanging in there, and in my opinion, had he not been slowed down by the injury to his finger, probably would have made this ball club.
1-2 the count on Gonzalez.
And if anybody falters early on, or if there's an unfortunate injury to one of the guys in the bullpen, he may be the first in line to get recalled. Throws strikes.
Some other changes to give you. You saw Gallagher out in center. Ryan Klesko is now at first base. And right center field will fall for a base hit. Kowitz, who stayed in the game in right, gets it back to the infield. And Gonzalez aboard. And now a familiar face, Harold Baines. The only man to have his uniform retired while still in his 20s. White Sox traded him and retired his number.
That was amazing.
He'll DH most of the year for the Orioles. Klesko knocks it down. He'll make the play himself. And Baines, having a good spring, hitting .333 with 4 home runs, is retired. Down to second. Gonzalez two away now for Baltimore here in the 7th.
Baines has been battling a lot of knee injuries through the years, but he seems to finally have a good grasp on that, and the fact that he's healthy, relatively speaking, with the several surgeries he's had to his knees. But they've also got Lonnie Smith over there too. If they want to platoon their DHs, you know, they've got 2 pretty solid hitters in Harold Baines and Lonnie Smith to call on.
Chris Hoyles has gone all the way today. He's walked, fly to left, and doubled. A ball high. Chris out of the old school. He's one of the, maybe the only major leaguer we know of that rooms with the bullpen catcher on road trips. Doesn't ask for a single room like virtually everybody in the major leagues gets now. In fact, some major leaguers now have certain demands for the floor that they're on, how high up it is. Some take suites. Changed.
Not just the broadcaster.
2-1 the count now on Chris Hoyles. 7 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors for Atlanta, 4-7-0 for the Orioles. We are in the top of the 7th. Braves with a spring training record of 18-9. Having their best spring training since 1982, and remember how the Braves started the year that year.
You know, but last year, Pete, they had a relatively good spring, 17-11 record last year, and still got off to what people would consider somewhat of a slow start.
Over the mound, the shortstop Rafael Belliard had that one trickle right under his glove, and Gonzalez will score to make it a 7-5 ball game. Belliard expected that ball to come up, and it never did. And the Braves are charged with their 3rd error of the afternoon as the lead is cut to 2.
This one really hugs the ground right after this hop right here, and Rafi was playing the hop, didn't come up for him.
So it is now a 7-5 Atlanta lead, and Leo Gomez the batter. Gomez this spring, .225, couple of homers, 7 RBIs. With Chris Sabo now aboard, Gomez playing time is going to be down this year. Deep to left field. Kelly going back toward that corner, but this one's hooking foul.
Gomez had some great years in AAA before he got to the big leagues.
And had one good year with Baltimore 2 years ago, 1992. He had .265, 17 homers, 64 RBIs, and they thought they had found themselves their third baseman for the next 4 or 5 years.
They thought he had reached the potential that he had shown so well at Rochester. But now, more or less on the trading block, if the price is right.
Last year his average dipped below 200, and he gets nailed by that pitch from Clark.
Gomez taking exception to that after hitting the ball out of the ballpark foul on the pitch before. But remember, the pitch before looked like a breaking ball down and away, and he reached out and one-handed it. Really had the plate covered, and Terry Clark came back, decided I got to get that part of the plate back by standing this guy up a little bit just to keep him honest, and that's why he got plunked. Here's the foul ball, sinker down and away, and he just covered the plate, completely had it covered. Steps in again, and Terry Clark plunked him on the shoulder.
So the runners are now at first and second with 2 outs.
And I'll tell you what, that will not go unnoticed by Leo Mazzoni and Bobby Cox.
Tim Hewlett awaiting the pitch. Ground ball third. Pacoda knocks it down. Will throw on to first. Low throw. Klesko. Nice backhanded scoop by Ryan Klesko to get Clark out of further trouble here in the 7th. The Orioles settle for 1. And they go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. 7-5 Atlanta. It's 7-5 Atlanta as we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning, and some more changes for the Baltimore Orioles as Ryan Klesko steps in to lead things off here in the 7th, facing right-hander Jason Satry. Satry, another guy who's been around for a while. He was originally signed by the Reds when Chuck Lamar was the farm director there. Klesko fouling this one back 1-1. Satry last year in the Orioles organization at Bowie, their Double-A club, 7-3, 3.11 earned run average. At Rochester, 4-5, 5.85 ERA. This is his 7th year of pro ball. He's out of Cooper, Texas. Klesko this spring, 329, 3 homers, 11 RBIs. Robbed of a home run in yesterday's game with the New York Mets. McKnight made a leaping catch on a ball that was over the wall. Lonnie Smith, the new left fielder, and Rene Gonzalez, the shortstop, converging. Gonzalez making the catch for the out. Another year in the bigs for the Lonster. And we're happy for him.
Did you read the quotes from him in the paper the other day, saying, I went to spring training with no preconceived ideas about making the ball club. I figured I had nothing to lose, and at the very worst I'd be home with my family for the summer. And lo and behold, here he is.
And here's Rafael Belliard, 0 for 1, reaching on a fielder's choice fly ball. Fairly deep fly ball for Rafi. Devereaux just shy of the warning track out there in center, makes the catch. Belliard hit a batting practice home run on Tuesday, I believe it was.
He hit one in Vero on Sunday, so he's been hot in BP.
Must have gone to the weights during the offseason.
Yes.
Here's Dave Gallagher. Singled his only time up today. Talking with Dave Gallagher about the team he was on last year, the New York Mets. And he said he'd never experienced a year like that in his entire career. When the season opened, a lot of people forget this. When the season opened last year, there were a lot of people that felt the New York Mets were going to win the National League East. They were favored to win by a lot of folks. They had 9 players who'd been on all-star teams on that roster. And it was just one thing after another going wrong on that ball club, whether it was the Vince Coleman incident, the Brett Saberhagen incident, somebody getting hurt. He said he's never seen a team unravel as thoroughly as that one did. They lost over 100 games. Finished behind the Florida Marlins. Again, a battle with the sun. Tim Hewlett fights it this time and wins. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Satry. And we go to the 8th inning. Braves up by 2. Going to the 8th inning with the Braves up 7-5 before a nice crowd on this sunny afternoon here in Atlanta. And we'll be back with you tomorrow as the Chicago White Sox pay a visit for the final spring training game of the year. You look at the former Brave Lonnie Smith in the Baltimore Orioles dugout. We have a new pitcher for Atlanta, the 5th pitcher to work. There's tomorrow's start time, 1:05. Jason Beret will pitch tomorrow for the White Sox. The Braves hope to have Steve Avery go. Steve went up to Michigan to be with his wife, who's having some problems with the pregnancy. And then opening night, we're here with you, 5 o'clock Eastern time in the East. We're going to have a day game out in San Diego for you. Greg Maddux against Andy Bennis, and as Chris Sabo would tell you, this one counts.
And he can't wait either. The Orioles will open up at home with the Kansas City Royals.
Mark Wohlers, the 5th pitcher to work today for Atlanta. Wohlers' 9th spring training appearance. He has no record ERA 3.72, 11 strikeouts in 9 2/3 innings. Hammond's 0 for 3. He's flied out twice and reached on the fielder's choice error, the throwing error by Bill Pecota. Grounded sharply off the glove of Belliard into left field. Hammonds has himself a base hit to start the 8th. And now John Voight. Always interesting to me, Joe. You go through spring training and there are so many publications now that come out advancing the season, letting you know who should win. But believe me, as that story we just told you about the New York Mets last year, once that bell rings, you have no idea which direction the season is going to go. It could be like 1991 when the Braves, who were expected to do nothing, go all the way to the World Series, or it could be like it was last year for the Mets, who are anticipated to advance possibly as far as the World Series and wound up finishing behind an expansion team.
See, I think that's what's going to be exciting about this year for Atlanta, because there are several question marks. It's not a set lineup. It's not just the same as usual. The only thing that's constant has been the starting pitching staff.
That ball sharply hit, and it's going to get up the middle for a base hit for Voit. Hammond stopping at second.
Nobody knows, despite how well some of these kids have played in spring training, nobody knows how it's going to go in the regular season.
No, because you don't know how these youngsters like Ryan Klesko, like Tony Tarasco, like Javier Lopez, like Mike Kelly, what happens when they hit their first 0 for 12? How will they respond to that against major league pitching? Will they be able to battle their way out of it, or will they fall into a slump that they can't get out of?
And it may seem like a minor problem to think about, and it's not a problem certainly at all, but a new guy in the rotation too. He's not going to pitch that much in April with a few off days, but Kent Merker has not been utilized as a starter on a consistent basis, and it will be interesting to see how he responds given the opportunity.
Damon Buford having a good spring, 325. He's got 9 extra base hits this spring, 7 doubles and 2 triples, and he's driven in 8 runs. His dad, Don Buford, was a former star with this Oriole team.
This kid got 77 at bats this spring. I think they're trying to find out some things about him.
Split last year between Rochester and Baltimore.
The most I ever saw, I believe, was Ken Griffey Jr. The year he made the Seattle Mariners ball club. He had over 100 at bats in spring training.
That's almost unheard of. The 1-1 on the way, and it's fouled off into the crowd. We got a Braves fan watching today down in Fort Myers, Florida. We got a letter from the Columbus Clippers, and a huge Braves fan, Ruby Lieberman, celebrating her 99th birthday today.
Well, we got another one in Norman, Oklahoma, and my mom's not 99, but happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday to you too. Looks a little more like the Mark Wohlers that Bobby Cox would like to see. And strikes out Buford for the first out here in the 8th inning.
Mark's numbers this spring, he's averaging more than a strikeout per inning. 9 2/3 innings, 11 strikeouts. He's walked 4, but maybe the most troubling thing, 10 hits. Is that good or bad? Well, it means he's around the plate and he's throwing strikes, but he's already given up 2 hits this inning. As long as he keeps them off the scoreboard, that's what's important.
Nice reception for Lonnie Smith as he bats for the first time. He was a part of that worst to first team in 1991 with the Pirates last year. Went over to the Orioles late in the season. Hit .261 with 3 homers this spring for the Orioles. He was a non-roster player. He signed a AAA contract. Outside corner, 1-1.
And can still hit. Still in good shape too, isn't he?
Yes, he is. 2-1 the count. And it goes to 3-1 now on Lonnie Smith. Lonnie now 38 years old. And down to first he goes with a walk, and that loads the bases. Rene Gonzalez will be the batter with the bases loaded, 1 out. Gonzalez's single is only time up. That's out of play down the line and right. Usually in spring training, when you see a player walk up there wearing uniform number 88, he's a guy they borrowed from the minor league camp. That's not the case with Gonzalez. He asked for that number years ago and has worn it for several clubs ever since.
He was one of the first to do that in baseball.
That pitcher that Seattle has, the Japanese pitcher, his name is Suzuki, who might make that ball club, by the way. When he came to camp this year, he asked for uniform number 911. Major League Baseball said, no, that's carrying it a little too far. If you're going to be a relief pitcher, call 911. Good idea. But, so he settled for a nice low number, 96.
Oh.
That's how hard he throws his fastball, they tell us.
This is a situation not unlike what Mark might be facing in the regular season, coming in the 8th inning as a setup man. He can't afford to have innings in close ball games where he puts a lead in jeopardy. Let's see if he can pitch out of it.
A little bit high, 1-2.
He's throwing awfully hard. Trouble is today, when he gave up the hits to Hammonds and to Voit, he got the ball up.
Hammonds at third, Voit down at second, Lonnie Smith at first. Got him. And Gonzalez glares out at Wohlers. He must have been looking fastball all the way. He had him frozen on that breaking ball.
He sure did. He locked him up with it. Looked like he threw it right at him. Knees buckle a little bit.
That's the split finger pitch that Wohlers throws. We're getting close to regular season, folks. Emotions beginning to heat up a little. This is Craig Faulkner, the catcher who took over in the last inning for Chris Hoyles.
He's tardy.
2 for 6 this spring with the Orioles. He's a non-roster player. Every media guy that's put out by major league teams, they always have a section with the major league players, and they always have a section with the minor league players. I'm going to suggest just put them all in the same section. They borrow so many guys now from minor league camps. You never know whether to look in the front of the book or the back of the book to find these guys. Craig Faulkner signed as a minor league free agent. He was with the Orioles originally, non-drafted free agent. Then he was picked up by Milwaukee, played in their organization for a couple of years. And he was drafted by the Cardinals. Played in their organization. Now he's back to Baltimore. And Mark Wohlers gets out of it. He had the bases loaded, one man out, and he winds up striking out the side to strand all three runners and maintain the 7-5 lead. Substituting continues here as Mike Mordecai, another of the minor leaguers that's been borrowed for the day. The next couple of days will bat to lead off here in the 8th against Jason Satry. Mordecai in his 5th year now in the Braves organization. Hit .268 at Richmond last year, a couple of home runs, 14 RBIs out of East Carolina University. Seventh-round pick back in '89, 5'11", 175, born in Birmingham. Pretty good defensive shortstop. Takes the ball high. One and one the count. With opening day just around the corner. It's just around the corner for the minor leaguers too. They start the minor league seasons now much earlier than they did years ago. They're right behind the big leaguers just by a couple of days. Up the middle, and Mordecai with a base hit. And now Coates will hit.
I told Coates before the ball game he was my idol. After Sunday hitting that home run at Vero that proved to be the difference in the ball game, kept that game from going into extra innings. As Tim Wallach hit a home run off of Wohlers in the 9th to draw them within 1.
Coates split last year between Greenville and Richmond. He's never really had a lot of power. That's why that home run had to be such a big moment for me. He had 5 home runs all of last year, and they were all hit at Greenville. He's from Owings Mill, Maryland, which is right outside of Baltimore. So he probably grew up an Oriole fan. He was the Braves' 8th-round pick in the 1990 draft. Up into that sun again. Hewlett stays with it. One gone in the 8th. And here comes Mike Kelly. Well, we hope he'll join us tomorrow. You'll see 2 teams that have very similar looks, the White Sox and the Braves. Both teams with good young starting pitching, good offense, similar style managers, Bobby Cox and Gene Lamont, similar personalities. Jason Beret will face Steve Avery. Braves will then fly out to San Diego. They'll fly out there Easter Sunday morning and work out at Jack Murphy Stadium Sunday afternoon.
Talking about that White Sox team, Pete, their ball club, of course, starts at the corners like so many teams in the American League, with Robin Ventura at 3rd and Frank Thomas at 1st. They're a solid offensive lineup.
They've got some new faces this year. Julio Franco's over there now. Aaron Jackson in right field.
Aaron Jackson's having a terrific spring.
And I wonder what goes through the mind of a youngster like Mike Kelly when he starts thinking about the upcoming week. He's from the Los Angeles area. And here we are getting ready to start a major league season. Mike's first with a road trip to San Diego and L.A. Oh, a nice play by Gomez, but he won't have a chance to throw anybody out. It'll be an infield hit for Kelly, who keeps on doing it. He's now 2 for 4 today.
I think his first couple of at-bats, Mike Kelly was very nervous. He was trying real hard, struck out, popped up, suddenly settled in, realized, hey, the game is played on the same type of baseball field I've been playing it on all my life, and they still got to throw it across the plate, and he settled in, got himself a couple of hits.
Braves now with 11 hits on the afternoon. And here's Charlie O'Brien, a strikeout, a single, and a walk today for Charlie. He did not go, says Rich Riker.
And don't forget about that good catch Mike Kelly made out in left field.
Bobby
early in the
Cox
ballgame.
feels that Mike Kelly is the best defensive outfielder in the organization for overall skills. 2-0 the count.
Anytime you have more than one center fielder in your outfield, you know you're going to be able to get to some balls, just like we were talking about with the Orioles. Mike Kelly gives them that addition when he's in the lineup.
High in the air along the line in left. Long run for Lonnie Smith. And just in fair territory, he's got it for out number 2. And now Olmeda will bat for the second time. He drew a bases loaded walk. His only plate appearance. Got pretty good power for a guy his size. 9 home runs, not bad. He's only 5'8".
What's nice,
155 pounds.
What's nice about this opportunity for these kids is that the fans in Atlanta are all too familiar with Chipper Jones, Tarasco, Klesko, Kelly, etc. This is the next generation. These are the guys that are coming along now that may be a couple of years away, but certainly have a chance to don a Braves uniform in a regular season big league game.
There is a little bit of a downside to it, though. You talk to some of the minor league managers who are getting ready to open their seasons, and they wish they had their team together for more than just a day or two. Some of the players they're relying on are up here playing in exhibition games. Another long run for Lonnie, another long run for Gonzalez, and Lonnie Smith calls him off and makes the catch. That's it for the Braves in the 8th. We go to the 9th. 7-5 Atlanta. 7-5 Atlanta leads it. We go to the 9th inning. A crowd today of 37,594. Some of them filing out early to beat the traffic home. And we have a new pitcher, Greg McMichael, who has locked in the closer role, at least for the outset of the season, with a good spring. He's worked in 7 games, 3 saves, a 1.13 earned run average. And Jeff Tackett will lead things off here in the 9th inning for Baltimore. 308 this spring, couple of home runs and 8 RBIs.
Got a Blauser update for you. He has a deep contusion on the 4th finger, his right hand, a slight sprain of the first joint on the same finger, but he should be okay by opening day.
And that is good news. Tackett, who will back up Chris Hoyles for the Orioles this year. Taking a strike, 1-2. Orioles as a team this spring have hit .292. And they're going to get another base hit here to start the 9th inning off of Greg McMichael. Little soft roller toward third. Dakota could go nowhere with it.
What about McMichael in his spring? He's followed up that great spring he had last year with an even better one this year. And the great number that he has posted this spring is no walks in 8 innings with his 11 strikeouts. That's what's terrific.
I asked him last night when we got to the stadium. I said, do you feel a little differently this year than you did last, when he was right up to the end of spring training before he knew whether he had made the ball club or not? And he was the story, the big story in spring training last year. And he said, not yet. I don't really feel like a veteran yet. 1 year is not enough, I guess, to make you feel like a vet.
Good for him.
It's 1-1 now on Gomez. Hit by a pitch his last trip.
It's hard to get here. It's tougher to stay, and that's what the young players have to remind themselves of all the time.
Well, the Braves will open the season with 4 rookies. I don't know how far back you'd have to go to find a team coming off 3 straight postseason appearances that have opened up the following year with 4 rookies. 2 of them will be in the starting lineup. 1 catching and 1 in left field. Gomez out of there. McMichael has another strikeout.
12 strikeouts for Greg on the spring. And that was a fastball.
In 8 1/3 innings. Now Tim Hewlett. Tom Stinson of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution did some research on rookies in the opening day lineup. Since the Braves have been in Atlanta in 1966, they have never had an opening day lineup with 2 rookies in it. They will this year. One and one the count in Hewlett.
There were a few years where they probably should have had 4 or 5, huh?
Should have had 9.
Not only just the rookies, Pete, but I count 6 players that are non-pitchers that were not on this ball club at the start of last season that will be here opening day.
Pretty massive
turnover.
overhaul. When you look back at the team last year, you're going to find 10 names that were here for all or a good part of last year who are gone now. You've got Jay Howell, Marvin Freeman, and Pete Smith gone from the pitching staff. All 3 catchers, Greg Olson, Damon Berryhill, Francisco Cabrera, are gone. Sid Bream, Brian Hunter, Otis Nixon, and Ron Gant. Toward third, Pacoda to second one. Olmeda on to first. Double play, and the Braves continue their winning ways in spring training as they defeat the Baltimore Orioles here in Atlanta by a final score of 7-5. Back to wrap it up from Atlanta right after this.
Has been brought to you by Budweiser Beechwood Age for a crisp, clean, classic taste. And by Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly.
Well, the Atlanta Braves continue their spring training role here in Atlanta this afternoon with a 7-5 victory over the Orioles. Their record now 19-9 in spring training. 7 runs, 11 hits, 3 errors. 4 men left on base for the Braves. The Orioles had 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors. They left 11 men on base. Steve Bedrosian gets the win. Tommy Bolton the loss. Greg McMichael earned his 4th spring training save. Time of the game 2 hours 36 minutes, and a good crowd here in Atlanta. 37,594. The Braves trailed Baltimore 4-1 in the 6th inning, but Braves put 6 runs on the board in the 6th, highlighted by this 420-foot laser beam hit by Fred McGriff. His 2nd home run of spring training, hit it right off the Royal Oak charcoal out in dead center field, and that staked the Braves to gave them a tie. They went on to get 3 more runs in the inning and then coasted from there as they put it away with a 7-5 victory.
7-5, Braves win it. The spring training finale takes place here in Atlanta tomorrow afternoon, 1:05 Eastern time. We'll have it for you here on TBS as the Chicago White Sox come to town. Jason Beret will pitch for Chicago. Steve Avery for Atlanta. We hope you'll join us for that. Coming up next on TBS, some cartoons, followed by the Brady Bunch at 4:05 Eastern time. Until tomorrow, for Joe Simpson, Skip Carey, Don Sutton, our entire TBS crew, Pete Van Wieren from the stadium, where today it was the Braves 7 and the Baltimore Orioles 5. So long, everyone.